Hey YouTube, got a short update for the race mower. I've done a few things to it, and so yeah, I'll just get into that. So the first thing you might notice is that it's really muddy. Well, it's not so bad anymore, because I did it about a month ago, but I went mudding about a week after I posted the other video, and it was pretty fun. I mean, obviously, it just wasn't no little puddle or anything, it was a lot of mud. I'll show you my helmet. Which is completely covered in mud. And it was a good time. I stopped once I couldn't see anymore because I was wearing sunglasses. But yeah, that was about a month ago now. And then I started cleaning off the floorboards because that's the only thing on the mower that's still red. And I want to paint it black. So I was cleaning that off yesterday, so that's why that thing's really clean compared to that side. And so yeah. Another thing that I did is I chopped the floorboards. As you can see, they come out at an angle instead of right before they came straight out, and that's because there's no reverse on this thing, like I said before, because it's not necessary. So when you back up, you'd hit your shins on that. No, you don't. Max. I did that, and then the other thing I did is, well, when I went mudding, I got that starter solenoid wet. See it in there? All the wires and such. So I had to take like a small, either like a short screwdriver, or this pick is what I use to start it. And I actually killed it after I was done mudding. Like I went in the pavement, I dumped the clutch too fast. I was at low throttle. Then I went start again. So then I tried bump starting it and that didn't work. So then I had my truck key on me, which has the rubber plastic handle on it. So I used that to start it. But you shouldn't use your key because it puts little nicks in the metal, so it might eventually wear down on your key. But I did that, so now this switch doesn't work. Which is fine, it's just another, it's a little bit harder to start it, but it's harder to steal now. Not that anyone would want to steal it, but another thing, I cut the wheelie bars off and then flipped the back plate upside down. And the reason for doing that is because normally the hitch would mount down here, and that trailer over there, the white thing there, the trailer sits more level when it's hooked on like this. And then I have a better departure angle. Not that that really matters, but. And then the big thing, you notice that this axle, front axle, is brown now. That's just because I had brown spray paint laying around. But I took it out, and I don't know, it's kind of hard to tell before, but these are the top those E-clips right there, the top of the spindles, and this one here was twisted like that, so it would turn funny and it would handle funny. So I took the axle out, straightened it, and then welded all the way around it, top, sides, and bottom, painted it, threw it back in here, and then, because when I got the mower, it only turned a little bit one way and a little bit the other way, so then I took like 1.5 inches out of the steering rod, and then once I did this, fixed it back, it did the opposite thing where it only turned the other way a little bit. So then I fixed that again, so it turns, because before it only turned a little bit to the left. So this is full left, and this is full right, which when you're driving, it'll turn a little bit farther. So I added a stop. I can always move the stop. You can kind of see it right there. That's the weld on the other side. So I just welded a nut. There's that big gear thing that moves, and then I welded a nut onto where it stops. So, because when you're going 30, you don't need to turn that much anyways. So it only makes it a little bit harder to maneuver it around the shed and stuff. But if you're going, like driving it, you don't want to be turning any sharper than this anyways. So that's fine. And then I tightened up the front end quite a bit. Hardly moves. That's mainly just play in the spindle right there. Another thing I want to do is since I straightened it, this rod here goes from the gear to this part of the spindle here, which turns this spindle, which turns this rod, which goes to the other tire. And since this was bent or twisted, or it was bent here, so this rod was twisted, so it was completely tight. And now I think it moves a little bit. I'm not quite sure. I think it moves more on this side. I don't know, I'm not really seeing it now, but I might do something to that, tighten that up more. There's still a little bit of speed wobble in it. And then the last thing I did was tighten up the seat a lot. Like before, in the other video about, I don't know, midway through I had the seat up. I was showing you that stuff. Then when I dropped it, it would make a bunch of rattling noise. And now it doesn't, because I cranked on all the bolts. I actually hurt my back yesterday doing it. It was like bending over, cranking on these really hard. So now there's just like no side-to-side play in the seat. So, because before when you sit on it, the seat would wiggle a little bit, and then it would kind of throw you off balance, and then it would, since the way you sit on this thing is a big deal, because I'm probably about like 45% of the total weight of this thing. Quit it. So probably like 45% of the total weight of the whole thing, so my position on the seat dictates a lot of what this thing does. So with that seat being tighter, I can control that a lot better. So yeah, I'm gonna try. I'm supposed to get snow tomorrow, like actual snow, because it's November 29th and we haven't gotten crap. I mean, we got one snowfall on Thanksgiving, but that only stayed for the day, and it wasn't. Like I was driving this thing, it wasn't even sliding really. So yeah, I want to figure out a way to get my phone mounted on my helmet, or borrow a GoPro from a friend or something, so I can get some footage driving this thing. So I'm sure that's all you guys really care about, judging by the fact that my last video got like 13 views or something. So hopefully if I get a video of me driving it, I'll get a little bit more attention on the mower, which is cool because I put a lot of work into it and I enjoy it a lot. So yeah, write a comment on what you think, and if you think there should be something changed on it, or something that would be a good idea to add, I might take that into consideration. Another thing, I have a bad brake rotor from my truck. It's basically shredded, has grooves in it. So I might cut a slot right across here and then slide that brake rotor in there, so it adds weight to the front end for the winter, so I can drift better. But I'll see how it handles, because if it like hardly slides in the winter, in the snow, then I don't know, then I'll do that. But I think it should slide pretty good, because I was able to drift on like loose gravel. So, yep. Comment, rate, and subscribe.